Welcome, everyone, to the Life of Giants, where we're talking about stuff that's important to you. Today's topic is, are you a master communicator or are you a master manipulator? So, with me, I am Dino the Genetic Marvel. As you can see here, make sure you like and subscribe. Above me is Mr. Cole Clayton, my trusty co-host. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, man?
I mean, there are things happening in the world, and I am just trying to navigate them. I am constantly jealous of people who the term is walking through raindrops. They can walk through a rainstorm, and the rain just avoids them because they are just touched by, I assume, some sort of demon or something, because it's not good.
I
But
have a brother like that.
Yeah.
You've met him, but he does not contribute to his or anyone else's life or
Yeah.
society ever. But like anytime he wants to go and get something done,
Yeah.
like I've seen it in action. Like one time I had dropped him off at the BMV and there was no line. He'll do
Yeah.
a scratch off and win $100. Like
Yeah. It's the kind of thing where I'm trying to understand
but he
the
can't do
idea
the
of,
job to save his
yeah,
life.
well, it's almost, it's this weird situation, right, where people will do things and you're like, how did that happen? And they're like, I don't know. And you're like, yeah, you don't know, because you had nothing to do with it. It just was successful in spite of you. Like, I don't, it's very confusing, right? But like that's the thing. So like what I've always tried to appreciate or understand is like, and like this is one of the key things why my relationship with Victoria has been has survived so long, is that we make sure to talk things out, right? Because if you don't communicate, it's only a matter of time before people just freak out, right? Because people want to be heard, they want to understand, they want to think that they're appreciated, right? Which I think is a valid thing. But then you have the other side where people they try and change your picture of them, and you're like, no, I know exactly who you are. You're a piece of shit. And in turn, they're like, no, my life has been so hard, you don't understand. You're like, no, your life is hard because you're a piece of shit. It's not because of anything other than that.
Those people really fucking irritate me. The people that always need to tell you how bad their life was.
Yeah. Oh, listen, we've had this conversation before where the idea is that Terry the Shark, I sniff rocks, not glue. I mean,
you're missing out, buddy.
What kind of rocks? That's the real question.
You know what kind of rock?
I do. They're the fun kind. You got to break up before. It's fair, but that's the thing, is like that idea where people want you, oh, you don't understand how bad I have it, and you're like, no, that's not, life is hard, right? In general. What's up, Ashton and Sam? Like,
what's up, Ashton?
And I tried to, we've had this discussion where it's like, listen, if you want to be single, that's hard. If you want to be married, that's hard. You want to have kids, it's hard. You want to have no kids, that's hard. You want to have a career, it's hard. You want to do gig work, it's hard. You have to pick your hard.
Well, right. There's like, it's like the difference between being fit and being like fat. You know what I mean? Like either way is hard. It's just there's a little bit of a benefit to the other one, to one of them. Which one has better benefit? You know what I mean? And it's usually the one that you have to work a little harder at to be.
Listen, having been a land manatee for 40 years, I'll tell you that it is a lot easier in winter when you're fat. That is just
well, yeah, but sure, 100%. It's easier to get fat, but as you age, it wears on your body, you know. And not that, but it's like some people just won't fuck with you because you're fat. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
Honestly, dating, that's kind of just like one that becomes harder, but you lose out on like business opportunities too. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't realize.
So Walkie Talkie said something great. My life was much tougher than yours. Can you believe I use silverware and not goldware? I mean, how did you survive? It's a fair question. But like, I'll tell you this much, is that like I got married twice. Both times I was fat as fuck. And people are like, you've been married twice. I'm like, I know. I don't know what's going on there. But like both of them were not visually impaired. They didn't have like they still had eyes. And yeah, so there was something. But like even now, I've had my interactions with people way weirder, 100% after losing the weight. And you're absolutely right. People will see you fat. And I would use this when I was a branch-based advisor, was that people see me fat and then immediately think you're slow, you're dumb, you don't know anything. And the thing is, bro, I would be wearing tailored suits with French cuffs. Everything was, and I'm like, and I would do my best not to swear. So I would wait until somebody else sweared. And then I'm like, all right, we swore. Okay, we're good. And I would lean into it because I do swear. But I would love that people were like, well, you wouldn't understand that. I'm like, oh, do you mean this? And they're like, how do you know that? I'm like, I'm not an idiot. I'm just fat. And they're like, I didn't say that. I'm like, you did. You said it with your eyes. I could tell. What's going on?
I never considered like that people thought fat people were dumb. That never crossed my mind ever in my life. Is that really a regular thing, or is that just a Canadian thing?
Listen, now that I don't look like I'm super fat, I just look like I'm husky. I think fat people are stupid. I look at them and I'm like, you're probably an idiot. That's like I'm like, it's yeah, no. People assume that you're an idiot if you're fat. And like it's a weird thing because that's not right. It's not fair. But yeah, I've always seen that, like when I explain how intelligent, like stuff that I know that is complex, and people are like, how would you know? And I'm like, I'm fat. I'm not illiterate. It's not, but that's the assumption.
I mean, I haven't been fat, skinny, muscular. I've been every body type you can imagine at this point in my life, and like dad bod, everything. And like no matter what, everybody is always surprised when I know something. So like that's just not like anything. It could be like, oh hey, do you know if you actually like put like a cup and a half of sugar in the Kool-Aid, it actually tastes. But people are like, how do you know that? Like I'm just small, minute. People think there's nothing going on up here.
Yeah.
So I do identify with that a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not the sharpest, but people do think I'm a dull spork. I mean, and this is, I find one of those things where being able to express yourself appropriately or so people understand you is such a huge thing. And being able to make people understand your perspective is a valuable thing. But the especially the world we live in right now, there's an overabundance of people who are just like, you just don't understand. You're like, no, I think you don't understand. Like, I love when people are like, I'm very educated. You're like, okay, can you explain to me what you do, as if I was 5 years old? And they're like, no, it's too complex. I'm like, then you don't actually understand what you're doing. That's the truth of it. If you can't look, like people talk about, I shat on my tea bag. Listen, that'll happen, because realistically, sometimes it just, you got to get your angles right. Wise guy. Fair enough. That is accurate as a name. But that idea is one of those things, like people talk about like a 30-second pitch or an elevator pitch. Essentially, you're able to start a conversation, explain what you want in the time of a short elevator ride. And that, is a very small window of opportunity. But if you can do it right, you can win someone over that quick because it is an impressive feat. So when I have people who are like, oh, I do this kind of stuff, and I'm like, oh, can you explain to me? I have no idea what you're talking about. Can you explain to me? And they're like, I couldn't. Like, I don't think you know what you're doing either. We both can do that job because clearly you don't know. So
some people just don't want to like explain because they're a cunt. You know what I mean? Like that's also a thing.
Yeah,
like, they're just being different. Like because like people will come at me and with the opposite opinion of what I have to say, and then I'm like, okay, why? You know what I mean? And then suddenly, like, I'm
I love
willing to hear anybody's opinion. I may not necessarily agree with what you said, but I'm
yeah,
willing to I'm actually open minded enough to be
yeah,
willing to change my mind based off of information you may give me
yeah,
if it makes sense. But people are, I don't like that just because they're a cunt, they're just saying no
yeah.
and not wanting to elaborate. I feel like because it's almost like the exchange of information. Like people are gatekeeping information
Yes,
because they feel important that they have it.
yes.
You know, that's kind of what it is to me. I think.
See, and I think it's from the other side of things where I think people don't want to tell you because they realized how insignificant that secret is, right? Like, so the idea is that, oh, if I tell you, then everyone can do what I do because it's actually simple,
Right.
right? As opposed to like, oh, I don't want you to know my secrets. It's more so if the secret gets out that I'm an idiot, it's over for me, right? And that's why it's a
I
very,
mean, that is self preservation, though, if you think about it.
to a degree, sure. Everyone, also, thank you very much for showing up and watching our. I know we didn't post it earlier; it was fairly last minute, just because I have a tumultuous tornado happening in my universe. But thank you for watching, and please make sure to subscribe to both of our channels so we can keep on doing stuff like this. Um, that idea, though, is that people don't like it. I You know what, one of the great examples I have of this is when you read a movie description and the movie description only says it's by this great director with these award-winning actors and it's going to be a hit, and you're like, I don't know what it is, you haven't told me anything, this movie's going to suck. And almost 9 times out of 10 it does suck because they're like, well, if all these important people do it, you should like it. And you're like, no, that's not how that works. My coworker is like that, super secretive, and it's a pain in the ass. Oh yeah, and it's like, what secret are you holding? If they go on vacation, things don't get finished, and we also 100%. That's it's a weapon. There's a certain degree of weaponized incompetence that people use, and they try and play it off that it's not their incompetence. You're too dumb to understand, and that's why it failed. And you're like, that's not real. That's not an actual thing. Um, you
So,
know,
so
it
the movie description, uh, that was a great like segue into the whole shebang because not giving you any information and trying your best to make it seem like you are,
yeah,
that's manipulation.
yes,
You know, like trying to get you to come to do a thing for me with giving you as minimal amount of information possible,
yeah.
almost in like a hey, I need you to come do this thing. Um yeah, and then you're like, well, why? And like, why are you well, why won't you share? And it's like it almost feels illegal.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and you're like, well, why? Well, I don't understand why you're not willing to do it. So, okay, I'll give you an example. Recently, there was a movie that came out, everyone. It was called Megalopolis. Okay. Now, I'm going to read the first paragraph as a description for the movie off of Wikipedia. So it says Megalopolis is a 2024 American epic science fiction drama film written and directed and produced by Francis Ford Coppola. The film stars da 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 da, all after about 20 names. Then it says set in an alternate 21st century New York, restyled New Rome. It follows visionary architect. You're like, you're just using buzzwords. You haven't told me anything, right? And then you're going, oh, it turns out movie sucks ass.
it's kind of like why I have like such a tumultuous dating life because I can't tell you how many times I've been. I'm gonna sound gay for this,
That's fine.
but I've had so many women be like, "You want to come over? There's pussy here." And I'm just like, you gotta entice me a little better than that. I mean, I can get pussy anywhere at any time. Like I don't like look at this face, and it's only getting skinnier. You know what I mean? Like I've been around the block. You know,
Yeah,
you gotta do more than just throw little buzzwords around.
because
You know,
if it's that same, okay, so listen, okay, walkie talkies are knees, but the insane part is that we're in the same department, but we'll misfile things on purpose. Bro, that's it's weaponized incompetence, and they're like, you know what? It's because you made a filing system that's wrong. You're like, no, that's the filing system. Just do it. Okay,
That's something I would say, though.
it is something he would say. Everyone, that's 100% accurate.
No, your system's fucked up.
No, your
Like,
system's wrong. It's not me. And you're like, no. You don't. You're. Oh,
I've definitely said something similar to that in the workforce many times.
well, this is okay, but this is the thing, right? Is that someone who only is pitching one aspect? Oh, you've been in a long-term relationship. I'm in a long-term relationship. You know that yeah, sure, fucking is important, but there's also everything else in life that makes it worthwhile, right?
Right.
There's an importance. Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, there's good pussy here. That's great. Are you a psychopath? Are you going to try and murder me? Are you going to steal my wallet? Are you going to ruin my day?
With good pussy? It's always attached to like not a good person, like
well, and that's the thing is, Drake, that if that's your only quality, that's a failure, right?
right.
It's that whole idea where people are like, well, what do you bring to the table? You're like, the best answer I ever heard was, well, I am the table. You're like, that's not a thing. That's not. You're like, that means you're an inanimate object that I can eat off of. Once again, not interested. No, thank you. Right. It's
I've had that before. Like, it's not. It's good.
Yeah. It's that idea where like I remember our first anniversary when we were still dating. We went out for dinner, and I was like, okay, so what are we doing here? I'm like, what's going on? Are we going somewhere with this? Like, what are your intentions with me? Because we've been together for a year. I need to understand. And she's like, am I not supposed to be having that question to you? And I'm like, well, I'm asking you, what do you want? What do you want of this relationship? And she was kind of like, I'm like, have you not, we've been together for a year. You should be thinking about this. Otherwise, where are we going? And she was caught off guard because most often people will assume that a woman's like, so what are we? And you're like, no, that's fine. Let's have the conversation. But ultimately that dynamic where it's like, no, let's have that difficult conversation has alarmed my wife more than once, where I'm like, no, let's have a conversation. She's like, I don't want to have a conversation because it's going to be a nightmare. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Why? Because
I'm on Victoria's side on that one. I've never had like relationship conversations before, like ever. I've just kept showing up until like the relationship didn't work anymore. You know what I mean? Like, so
I understand that. And look, this is that kind of where I hear other married couples and they're like, oh, we don't fight. I'm like, then you're roommates. You're not married. You're not.
Right.
You're right.
I've had arguments, but like,
yeah,
I've had arguments with like the type of chicks that I'm into. Like, I'll be like having an argument before I know I'm in an argument.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, goth baddies, please apply right here. Just apply here.
Like, he is down. Have you ever been in an argument you didn't know you were in before until like halfway in? You're like, oh shit! I've been getting my ass kicked for the first 3 rounds. Like, I need to turn up. Like,
yeah. A conversation started, and I was like, "What is happening right here? What do you want? That
was my entire relationship with my baby mama, bro. What is happening right now?"
Yeah. And to the point where you're going, wait, are we fighting? Why are you fighting? What are you talking about? And like, well, I have a problem. I'm like, okay, tell me what the problem is. I don't know what you're doing because I still am in the dark here. None of this makes any sense. And that's the idea that people will kind of sidestep and prance around and, well, we have to, just fucking tell me what's going on. I don't need this dance. I am a grown-ass man. I can take it, okay?
It's not even that. Sometimes I feel like I've been in arguments that I didn't know I was having because I thought we were saying the same thing. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm agreeing with you. Why are we yelling? Like,
I've been there. I have been there, and I'll tell you, it is a night where you're like, I'm sorry, do you not realize we're on the same side? Like, we're trying to solve this problem. Why are you fighting with me? This is I explained this to Victoria very early on. I said, if If you come to me with a problem, you're the problem. But if you come to me with a problem and a potential solution, then you and I can attack that problem using your solution. And she was like, why? And I'm like, oh, you can be the problem. That's fine, but it's going to suck.
Well, I mean, what if she's coming to you and she has a problem, but she doesn't know how to solve it?
That's okay. So I will explain. That is a completely valid explanation where it's like, hey, I have a problem and I have no idea what to do. Can you help me? That's because you haven't just identified the problem, but you're like, I don't know what to do. I need you to step in here. And this was, I'll give you an example.
So the solution is you, essentially, is what you're saying. She did bring
You're
a solution.
saying, hey, yeah, the solution is I need you to fucking do something with this. Right?
Figure this out. Okay.
Right. Now, one of those examples was early on in a relationship. We're driving down the highway. I'm driving Victoria's car at the time. And she's got this face. Okay. I go, honey, what's wrong? Nothing. Keep driving.
I hate that so much.
So, honey, what's wrong? Come on, tell me. Nothing. Okay. And at this, so 2 nothings, I'm on fire. Okay. I am ready to just start ramming things with the car. I go, okay. So I'm going to ask you one more time. And I want you to understand that you have 3 options. Okay. You can, option 1, tell me what's going on. No problem. Number 2, fuck off. That's your option 2. Or 3, change your face. And
is this really how you talk to your wife? Because it doesn't work anywhere else.
This is how I talk to everyone. Okay. I love how Victoria sounds like Batman. She definitely sounds like Batman.
Nobody else can talk to their wife like that. I hope you know that. That's because you have an Eastern raised wife. That's what it is.
Yes. She knows how to study and get good marks. Love didn't come until I showed up. That's not
it sounds like it still has it. Shit.
As well. No, that's fine. So, and she goes, well, I'm not ready to talk about it. I'm like, okay, you're not ready to talk about it. That's fine. Then I'm ignoring your face because you need the time to process. And then when the time is right, you'll come to me. Correct? Yes. Why couldn't you say something? Oh, well, I didn't know I could say that. Why not? If you can't tell me that, hey, I'm in the middle of processing something, I'm going to need a minute. Okay. That is a completely valid response.
Well, to be fair, nobody says things like that. So nobody had ever told her that she could, like, ever in her life probably mentioned that, you know?
She's Chinese and a woman. Of course not. She can't have an opinion. That's invalid. That's no, I joke, everyone, kind of. But that's the whole thing, is that there's more to communication than that. And it's getting down to that base. I'm dealing with something. I need to go through it. Like, even with everything that's happening right now, I said, hey, how are you doing? She's like, we've been really busy, so I'm too tired to process things. So I'm kind of waiting for something to happen. That makes complete sense. We've been very busy with stuff. So when we stop having things to do, might catch up with you. So now you're aware, be ready, right? And I'm here for you, right? But that's the thing, is if you don't even communicate at the lowest level, look, like you said, sometimes you're in an argument, you're like, wait, no, we're on the same side. Why are you arguing at me? I want a solution. You want a solution. You and me will solve the issue. But people are like, no, I want to fight. For what? I don't want to fight. And let's be honest, like, I always tell people, like, hey, you don't want to argue with me. I mean, and if I start to lose, I will tear you apart and your entire psyche will break. It's very, because look, you and I have had discussions, and you've been witness to discussions where I go, no, that's not okay. And then in turn, people's responses, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I just, and walk away. Why? I don't need that. It's just not beneficial. If you
I love
want
the battle, though, man. I'm a Viking, man. Like I want to die in Val. I want to end up in Valhalla, die in battle.
I, that's 100%. I remember somebody asked me in a podcast I was on years ago, and they were like, "If you had a choice of how to go, how would you?" And I'm like, "In battle." They're like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "In battle." They're like,
Mhm.
"What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Fighting for my life." That's 100%. Listen, if I'm in the hospital, a decrepit old man, and I know I'm going to go that day, whoever walks in the door, you're getting something thrown at your head. Just gonna be like, yeah, let's go. Let's do this. Like, I'm not going out lying down. I'm going out with violence. That's just how it's gonna be. Yeah. And you know what? I agree. There is gonna go to Valhalla by throwing a cello cup to an order.
See, I know my way is definitely like I know how like I like rile women up, you
Mm.
know, by things that I say or my opinions and things. So I know that my best chance to get into Valhalla is to say something crazy and
Yeah,
get stabbed to death by one of these women. You know what I mean? Because
absolutely.
women don't want to fight me. I'm not even. It's not even that I can fight a little bit. I know a little bit of professional combat sport, and I'm a big guy, but I don't even think that's it. I think most dudes understand that I'm hilarious and I mean well, but women haven't picked up on that ever, and they
No,
never will. You know,
no,
so.
no. They're like, you're an asshole. You're like, yeah, I'm trying to get paid to be an asshole. You're like, I'm taking this professional. I'm not even pretending anymore. I'm going the distance, right? That's the whole idea, right? Like, people rely on the idea of their perspective and just assume you should know. And you're like, that's crazy. How would I know what's going in your mental head? That's impossible. And that's why is being able to have that back and forth, have that discussion. It's like, there's in every form of communication, there is a degree of manipulation. Is the question is, are you doing it for uh good or for evil, right? And that's the hard part, is because you want, like, look, we were talking about this before, was the whole idea that, like, you need to trust, right? It is an important part of our existence, and it's becoming harder and harder to trust people, and especially when you're betrayed, right? Which, listen, I have an ex-wife. I know exactly what you're talking about. This is fucking. And you're like, I'm not trusting anybody. I don't trust myself. Forget about anybody else. I don't trust anybody, right? Uh,
But it goes deeper than that. It's not like I'm just like afraid to trust people. It's just more like
once bitten,
I
twice shy.
understand that I would have a particular goal,
Yep.
and probably different. Nobody has, even if you have the same goal as me, it's not your goal for me. You know what I mean? I understand that now. When I
Yeah.
was younger and I had my ex-wife, as you will, I thought we were on the same side. I made that
Yep.
mistake of thinking we were always going to be on the same side.
Yeah.
And it was always not me necessarily against her and her against me in her head. It was just we're two different people in her head. And I feel like most people learn that pretty early on. I didn't. I didn't realize that
Oh yeah.
till just a couple years ago. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because I'm so team oriented. Because I grew up the oldest of six kids. I was in sport. You know what I mean? And I'm just a little dumb. You know what I mean? Like that's why I'm a little touched. You know,
You're really
that's
not,
why
but yeah.
people think I'm dumb
Yeah.
because the dumb is on the surface. It's you
You
gotta get in there. You know what I mean? Like
you lean into it too, though, right?
sure,
I've
you know, I
I've
use it to my
seen you.
advantage at times.
I knew all this, but I couldn't figure out how to work.
I feel that.
Feel it. But that's the thing, is, like, I've seen you with my own two eyes just crank up the twang to 11 and watch people go, oh, and I'm like, the
That's
fuck
what
is
I'm
this
talking
guy?
about. I get
Oh,
that's manipulation though. Because
that's
I get if
100%
if
manipulation.
you hear sometimes when I'm drinking it comes out real heavy,
Oh yeah.
specifically like whiskeys and beers, ironically enough. But if you hear me sober crank on the southern accent,
Yeah.
then you know I know that my situation is difficult right
Yeah.
now. And if
Yeah.
I just use the accent, people are like, "Oh man, you're not from around here, are you? You know, let me go see what I could do." You know, like
Listen. And so people understand this. Because of me, he has started using the word guy. But
I have,
because of him, I started saying, I appreciate you to people. And I'll tell you,
I appreciate it.
I hate it. and it works so well, and it drives me up the wall.
Wait till
Because I'm
you
like,
wait till you say I thank you. I appreciate it. It's two different
oh yeah, oh
types
no,
of
I've
like.
hey, I've done like this. I appreciate your hard work. People, oh, thank you, and I'm like, get fucked.
It sounds
Hey,
so genuine, right?
I
Even if
appreciate
it's not, like
it. Not so, bro. There's no way you hear it and don't immediately go, oh, you care about me, and you're like, I don't fucking care about me, let alone you.
that's the thing. If somebody says they appreciate me, I don't even think about it because I say it so much that it's just like verbiage to me. You know what I mean? So if somebody said I appreciate it, I wouldn't even consider it like
Yeah.
even if they were being genuine, I wouldn't. I'd be like, what? Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Jake, what's up, you old raw doggers? I'll
what's
tell
up,
you,
Jake?
raw
Jake the
dogging,
Snake.
baby.
What's up, man?
And real talk, people think I'm heartless, but I've got the biggest heart. I know I don't know everything, but prove it. See, this is the thing. Bless your heart. Exactly. Okay. If you don't know what bless your heart means, you're like, thank you. And you're like, it's
Yeah.
not a compliment. It is not. It is not in any way, shape, or form a compliment. And that's like, listen, I've been, I'll give you an example of manipulation. Here you go. There's my local Starbucks. There's two. They're equal distance away. Actually, one is closer, but the one that's a little farther has a drive-through. And I am fat, so I go through drive-through because I'm lazy. Now,
Wasting that gas.
that's absolutely. I'm waiting for Trump's America to take over, so it just boom drops down to $1 a liter. Now, thank you, Jake. Hey, we're glad to be here, buddy. We appreciate you coming by. Had fun the other night. And have either of you heard "Kiss My Grits" before? I have never
I feel
been
like I've
told.
heard that before, but I don't know.
I've heard it. No one has said it to me. And I believe Kiss My Grits is a little bit of a taunt to, they may be fighting words even. But
It's like
Jake,
kiss my ass, right?
it is, but it's a little more aggressive, is my
Grits would be
perspective.
balls, I feel like, nuts.
I believe grits maybe, yeah, maybe a little bit of the taint, like the
Right.
back end of the balls. You're like, there might be a shit stain on there, and you're like, that's not for me, right? So now I have actively gone to this drive-through, and two things I do with all service people, whatever the place may be. They go, "Hi, how can I help you?" I'm like, "How are you today?" And they're like, "I'm okay." I'm like, "Okay." They're like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "I'm okay too." Great, let's proceed. And that's immediately changes. Yeah, it's like lick my taint. I knew it. See, doesn't
Where,
fight
where
words.
in the South? Because I don't really say that out where I'm from in Houston. So, where do they say it, Jake?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jake. I want to know, because then I want to know where I need to throw down. So I will actively do this with every service people, but specifically at my Starbucks, what I do, you consistently meet my expectation.
Bro, way to be so neutral about being positive.
That is, oh God, but that is like a kick in the dick. You're like, you consistently meet my expectations. You're like, that's not a compliment. It's not a dig, but it's definitely not a compliment.
It's also like, what are your expectations of me? Like,
So Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, it's where
gotcha.
everyone likes touching their family. I get it. No, it's
I
fine.
only spent like 6 months in Mississippi. My grandfather lives out there, and he tried to make me join his gator trapping business. I was like, never again. I left real quick.
All it cost me was one finger. Yeah, no.
No, I got them all somehow.
But I got an extra one from somebody else. No, but
Yeah, I
this,
found the one with the alligator had. I had to take it. I was like, give me this one then.
yeah. At first, I took a picture. It was an alligator with a cigar, and I was like, nope, that's someone's finger just hanging out. Just
Where's
the
my
wrong way.
finger? Wait, is that my finger? No, this one's got a ring on it.
Yeah. Well, my
A
ring
wedding
now.
ring.
Somebody had a good day.
Right.
So I pull up, and they're like, "What can I get started for you?" I'm like, "How are you today?" They're like, "I'm good. How are you?" And I'm like, "I'm spectacular." Every time I go there, I say, "I'm spectacular." And it happened so that within a few months, they consistently have now remembered my order every cup. Oh, are you getting something for your wife? Yes, I am. And every time, and I'm just like, all right, my manipulations worked. And then I pull up, they're like, "Hey, you have a great day." I'm like, "No, you're doing God's work. You have
Have a great day,
yeah,
random citizen.
that's it. 100%. And I love you, random
No,
citizen. Like just
I get that because like I'm a regular Door Dasher. And so I'll see all the other Door Dashers get treated like shit
yeah,
by all of the all customer service, what no matter where you are.
yeah,
But me, if I go there a lot, like it's not a new place, dude, they know my name. They're like, "Hey Cole, what's up? How's it going, man? What's up? How are you?" It's all this because I it's not because it doesn't
yeah.
cost anything to just say, "Hey, how are you doing? What's up?" You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a shit how your day's going,
No.
but I know that it'll make you feel better and probably get you to do your job better, which will help me. Like, let me
It's
help you help me.
okay. So if you ever see a really ugly woman, especially the manly ones, we call them brick chewers. I need you to expand on that explanation because
Brick
I
Stewart.
love it. I love it, but I don't know why I love it because I'm a little bit of an idiot. So Jake, I need more. I need to understand the brick
Say,
chewer.
say brick chewers again.
Brick chewers.
Okay, because it sounded like you said brick chewers. So I was like, is that Canadian accent coming out?
I mean, I'm not drunk yet, but might be coming.
What do
Yeah.
you drink?
Huh?
Canadian whiskey?
I haven't drunken anything in a while. I tried to get an espresso martini when we were out for dinner, but they're like, "Oh, we can't make that." I'm like, "What kind of place is this?" I was so enraged.
They
Uh,
can
they
have
look like
coffee, man.
they look like they got strong jaws on the sativa.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
I personally like a strong jaw. Think Medusa and Little. Yeah, that's fair.
Ew.
Listen, this is the thing. Is
Ew.
like
Oh, Ursula, even worse.
it's yeah, it was Ursula, and yeah. See, that's a thick jaw. I like a yeah, unfiltered cigs and Mountain Dew. Jesus Christ, that's the breath that'll take the paint off a car.
Those women are upstanding gentlemen. What they are.
It's a handsome woman. That's
Yeah,
what that is. Yeah.
they're handsome young men, is what those women are.
Okay, so I forget what we were shopping or something, and Victoria turned to me. She's like, "That's a handsome woman," and I was like, "That is not a compliment." She's like, "I'm aware." I'm like, "Jesus Christ, that's fucking mean."
We
But
all
yeah,
knew she had to have a reason to be with you.
it's,
Okay, like
yeah, she
she is
is
too
mean.
nice, and I always felt like there's like it's in there, because she has not done it to me yet. But I feel like she hasn't given me the business, as you will. But I feel like I'm gonna get it out of her one day.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair.
She probably talks a lot of shit, not on the
No,
keyboard, or there's probably some shit to you about me, but never
no,
to me directly.
she's very tactical. She knows what she's doing. No.
She's waiting until she figures out what I'm insecure about.
100%. She's just waiting. She's
There's over 30 women who couldn't figure that one out, honey.
I mean, and that's the thing is she's an archer, so she just sits there and waits for the shot. Like that's what she knows what she's doing. You can also tell if an old person here thinks you're ugly if they're talking about someone and they say they've got really a good heart. Yeah, I mean, it's when you're described as you're like they got a great personality. You're like, oh no, I didn't think I was ugly. That's not a nice thing.
But let's consider the fact that every relationship I have ever witnessed in my lifetime,
Yeah.
the ugly ones are the happiest.
Yes.
If you have two ugly people in a relationship together,
Yeah.
they are just the happy. They die together. Like they literally ride it out. If you have two or one pretty person in a relationship, it's not gonna work out. It never works out.
It's equal footing, right? Like that's the thing is you have to be playing in the proper league, right? It's when there's an imbalance. Like think about it this way: hot woman, ugly guy, he's rich, right?
Yeah, there's a
Hot guy, ugly woman, he's got no wiener.
But if he's rich, it's still not gonna work out because she knows she can leave too because she's hot and she's gonna get half his paycheck. You know what I mean? She's gonna get half the house, probably gonna get child support. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. That means she had to sign she put in the time, but she had to sign a prenup, so now she's stuck there, right?
if you're smart, but like
Look, and this
intelligence does not come whether you're rich,
no.
poor, ugly, good looking. Smart is something that it escapes all types of men, at least.
I'll tell you this. So I told you about that rap party I went with all the young people from that I was working with, right? And we went to a bar that's mostly university students. And I'm like, I was walking around with resting murder face, so nobody messed with me. But I'm also 6'2", 6'3", 270 pounds, and I'm very broad. So people don't get in my way. That's not a real thing, right? But one of the
I
other
envy you so much.
it's
I really do, because I got approach me face.
you do. You're like, you seem interesting, and you're like, oh yeah.
Really not.
Yeah.
I mean, I really am, but I really don't want to be. Like,
do you remember that time there was a news thing about a little girl who ran to the black guy because she was trying to be someone was trying to kidnap her, and he was like, I saw this little white girl run up to me and ask me for help, and I knew there was a problem because you're not running up to this face. So it's like when someone approaches me and I'm like, is there a problem? Like, are you in danger? So, and this is the thing is one of the people I was working with was a girl who is she's about 5'11", 6 foot. And she parted an entire crowd almost as good as I do. And I was like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, and after we were talking, I'm like, you're a problem. And she's like, I am a problem. I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad you knew him because you are dangerous. She's like, I'm very dangerous. And she's also like Eastern European.
Bitch. She just has an aura of bitch.
Oh man, it was I was the first time I've seen that in real life, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. It's an impressive thing. Glue sniffer, I always forgot your name. You look like if Bam Margera had never started his drug habit. Friendly face. I mean, yeah, no,
that's similar. Yeah. I do look very Bam Margera.
Yeah.
Glue sniffer, sniffing that works. My real name's Cole. Well, kind of, but that's actually my middle name. But that's what I go by. But yeah, you just call me sniffing glue or glue sniffer. That's cool.
It's fine. It's gonna happen eventually. No, the point is this, but like that, she had a gun. I mean, maybe, but it's like when you see that kind of stuff. Like, so if people approach me, I'm like, oh, what do you want from me? I'm like, no, you're trying to. I'm like, where's my wallet? What's going on? What's happening here, right? Because I am not friendly at all, right? And
that's so bullshit. Maybe it's because you're Canadian, so y'all have different standards of what friendly is. But I consider you more friendly than me for sure. Definitely me.
Yeah, but okay. So this is the difference, though, is that I don't lie about it, right? So if you are coming to me, I'm assuming you need help of some sort, and you've willingly endangered your life for my help because I have this face, right? Because I look like I'm gonna, you're not gonna survive this interaction, and that's why I'm kind of like, because I explained this to somebody. I'm like, as a Canadian, I am polite. I am not nice. So like, I'll say, oh, excuse me. If you bump into me, I'll be like, sorry, right? Like somebody bumps into me, I say sorry. If I've had one person go, what'd you say? And I'm like, I said, I'll eat your face. And they're like, oh, I'm excuse me. I'm like, yeah, let's be very, I'm a polite person by choice, but at the same time, I'll rip your arms off and beat you to death with them. Because
used to be the I'm sorry guy. And I've had that happen. The what'd you say situation happen so much so that when I bump into somebody now, especially if it was like if I'm totally at fault, I'll be like, my bad. But like if it's a tight situation, like I'm trying to get by you and you're just kind of in the way, I don't say shit until somebody else says shit. And then I'm like, oh fuck you, buddy. Like
okay. That's the summary of every Greek person I've ever met. Polite, not nice. Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah. I am not nice. No, it's that.
You're just Southern. That's just I mean, it is the south of Europe.
Yeah, it's okay. That's fair.
It's the Middle East,
It's not the Middle East. Such a bastard. But
I agree with anything you say about Greece. Okay, it's wrong. Because you say gyro is pronounced euro, which tells me that y'all's G's are just any type of way y'all want. What is it really Greece? Greece? It's
Hey,
probably Drake.
okay, so hold
Probably
on.
Drake.
He's probably Canadians say sorry so much that a law was passed in 2009 declaring that an apology can't be used as evidence of admission of guilt. Yeah, that's true. That's a real Allah Giro Akbar. Yeah, that's basically it. But yeah, that's a real thing. So saying sorry is not an admission of
sorry.
guilt.
They say sorry.
It's-
I saw it in the Deadpool movie.
I mean, yeah. So sorry.
First time I ever seen two Canadians leading in the same Hollywood film, by the way.
It's one of those things. Hugh Jackman's not Canadian. He's
Yeah, but
Australian.
Wolverine is.
Wolverine is Canadian. That I'll give you that. I've got to head to bed, fellas. I'll see you next week. Jake, always a
Later,
pleasure.
Jake.
We'll try and we're working with the timing to try and figure it's been a few days. I might explain later, but yeah, we'll see you next week.
I appreciate you for tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely, Jake. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Thank you, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I hate saying it, and it works every time. It drives me like what drives me crazy the most is that I didn't think about it. Because I heard having seen you say it to the most ludicrous of situations where it was completely unnecessary and people just, oh yeah.
I'll use it for evil too. When somebody's doing something that they don't want to do, yeah. Like for instance, me and my baby mama got in a fight the other day, right? And she just she was in the wrong 100%. And I was just trying to get her to do something for our kid, and she just didn't want to do it because it was my idea. So when we finally stopped butting heads, we really weren't butting heads. She was trying to fight me, and I was just kind of like, I just want to talk about that. You know what I mean? So she finally was like, I'm fine, I'll do it. And I just said, appreciate it. Like,
well, you can't argue with that statement. Like, hey, I appreciate you. And they're like, you better not. Why would you say that? That's insane. Right? Like there's no legitimate response that's negative that doesn't make you look like complete fucking lunatic, right? If someone says, hey, I appreciate your time. Well, yeah, well, fuck my time.
This is where manipulation is a good thing, okay? Yes. Killing them with kindness.
Yes.
You know, because it is manipulation, because all you're doing is just trying to come out looking like the good guy when you are technically stooping to their level, but you're just doing it in a slick way.
I don't think it's you. See, this is the thing. I don't think it's you trying to make yourself look like the good guy. I think it's you trying to solidify that you're not their enemy, right? Like you're not their opposition. So
I don't see it that way. I'm definitely the opposition in certain situations.
That's also true. I've seen you do it. Yeah. It's like when you say something like that though, it's that because like I've seen you diffuse situations that you could tell the person is on their fucking last, shred of decency for the day. They're just absolutely like, fuck this, fuck my life. I don't want to do this. Right. But it's almost when you say it, it's one of those things where you are, they have to redirect that frustration instead of, because look, and a lot of times it's with a service person, right? Where the only person that they can retaliate against is the person they're serving. Right. So when you say something like that, like, hey, I really appreciate that. Or I appreciate you. And thank you for like all those kind of things make somebody realize that you're like, well, you may be an asshole, but you're recognizing my value. And that means my anger can't, you've diffused my ability to be angry at you. And now I have to redirect it to some cocksucker who put me on the schedule 4 times in a row. Right. It's fair. That's fair. And that's why, like, it's that idea where there are two sides to the idea of communication, right? It's you have to be able to convey your point with the added flair of people, and this is manipulation, is where you help people see things from your perspective as well as theirs, right? And then when you say something like, I appreciate you, they realize that you're like, no, I recognize your perspective, and now I'm making you see from my perspective that we are not enemies, right? Because I've gone into situations where I start off said, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I have a big problem, and I'm making it your problem now. So if I can explain," and they're like, "Okay." I'm like, "Let me explain because I really, you're a human being and I'm a human being, and I don't mean to be crass and I don't mean to be, aggressive with you, but I'm having a real situation and I really need some help." And people are going, "Okay, well, tell me what's going on." And I explain it. They're like, "I can fix that." Okay, yeah. And I'm like, "Thank you. It really makes a difference in my day. I really appreciate it." And they're like, "Yeah, no, I can understand how this frustration." And like, because now it's that idea where I know I'm coming in here and I may well ruin your day. I don't want to ruin your day. That's not my intent, but someone's day is going to get ruined and I really don't want it to be my own.
And see,
Right.
that's the flip side of where it's like versus manipulation versus communication.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, I appreciate you for fixing my problem,
Yeah.
um, even though you didn't have to. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
the saying I appreciate it is so much better than just put the fries in the bag, bro. You know what I mean? You're gonna get a
Oh,
lot more out of one, gesture versus the other,
and I'll tell you this right now. If someone was like, "Just put the fries in the bag," I would put it in and then tip it over. I just, "Oh, yeah, okay, no problem. Tip it over. Here you go. Fuck you." Like
I
immediately.
mean, I've been told that in I like ironic situations
Yeah.
where like I'm having an argument with somebody and they're like, just put the fries in the bag, bro. But it had nothing to do, like, I wasn't at work
Yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like if I was at work, if I worked in a like McDonald's, for instance, somebody said that,
Yeah.
because that I think I would lose that job. I'd be like, look, guys,
Immediately.
I ain't catch a charge. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and that's I think that was like one of the things that I had to communicate to people where I'm like, "Oh, no, no, no. My honor and self-respect don't have a price. I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to kiss anyone's ass. It's just not it's not in my like, look, I do this because I'm unwilling to do that. You know?
that's how
I
I got
want
here.
Yeah, I want to do things on my own terms. I refuse to like, I'm not going to beg anyone for anything. No, I'm just going to go do it myself. It's that simple. It's ludicrous for me for someone to be like, "No, you have to beg me." Well, that's not going to happen. Like,
There's
it's
a lot of like a lot of like power
yeah,
struggles in the workforce.
yeah,
Has it always been that way, or is that just kind of a new thing because of, I don't know, like we have for the first time ever, it seems like four different generations working together. That hasn't ever really been a thing. Three at most, because people are living so fucking long now.
yeah,
You know, and nobody can get promoted very high because the boomers won't fucking retire. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So we have all these power struggles at lower levels because nobody can get promoted. You
yeah,
know what I mean? So they're like, you're gonna beg, let me like, and then it kind of boils over into customers too because they're mad at their lives. So they go in and they just love to see somebody getting paid minimum wage where they can make them do something. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, bitch, I will punch you. I don't care. I will punch you. You know what I hated working in the food industry the
Mm.
most? And I still hate it to this day, is when somebody says, make sure to, like, they'll say, make sure to slice the sandwich in half. I hate make sure. I
Yep.
hate that. I like, can you please? If you say make sure to me, you have not, you're going to see my shoulders physically drop
Yeah.
because you have lost me now.
Yeah.
You have lost the locker room if you say make sure to me.
Yep.
But I don't. Is that's rude, right? Or is that just me?
It's very rude. So what you're doing is that your assumption is that I'm incompetent, right? Make sure, because you're saying that I don't know what I'm doing. And because I don't know what I'm doing, you have to remind me. And that immediately makes me just want to just squeeze the life out of your face. Honestly, ever since COVID happened, people seem to be more self-absorbed. And if it, 100%, that's accurate. I think it's also a tone of please make sure. Yeah, definitely. Because the
I think there's
idea,
a tone you could say it. Is there a tone? I've never been told it. Like,
no, like there's different verbiage. You say, hey, I had a problem with this last time. That's not the norm. Am I wrong? Like I've told people like, hey, I didn't get what I wanted last time. I'm not sure if I said it right. Can you explain to me what I did wrong? And people go, oh yeah, I could do that. So like my Starbucks drink is simple but complex. So I get 5 shots of espresso on ice in a venti cup with light ice and a splash of heavy cream. It's a very, in my perspective, it is. But the problem is, it leaves a lot because it's too much for a grande, but too little for a venti cup. So I'm like, I have to say, hey, I'm okay with the extra room because what'll happen is they put in a whole shitload of cream or a whole shitload of ice to fill up the cup, and I'm like, no, that's fine. I don't need that. I'm okay with the extra room. That's fine. And they're like, oh, you're okay with the room, okay? But I didn't know, so I kept on getting what looked like milk
Right.
out the window, and I'm like, what the fuck is it? What the fuck did you do, right? And then someone's like, I'm not getting what I want. I need to understand what your verbiage is so I can do better.
That's why I hate these coffee shops, because every single coffee shop has a different word for everything. And it's like, I don't want to learn a whole language to pay $6 for what I can make at home.
This is okay, bro. Don't even get me started. There's a TikTok that goes around of Paul Rudd going into a coffee. I'll get a large
Yeah,
coffee.
it's the what is one? There's it's a movie. I forget what it is,
but he goes, oh no, tall means large. Grande is large in Spanish. Venti means 20, which because it's a 20-ounce cup. So you're stupid in 3 languages. It's not. Even when someone says, "Oh, can I get a tall?" and I'm like, "What's a tall?" And they show that it's this, and I'm like, "That's not tall.
It's that's little.
It's a short. Give me that's a small." And they're like, "We call it a tall," and I'm like, "I call it go fuck yourself. What are you talking about? That's not.
Every time I go to Starbucks,
I'll
be like, "What size?" I'll be like, "That one." I don't know. Like,
oh, it is inferior. There's no question about it, right?
I don't know, because y'all are. I just want a small or like a tall. No, a small. Like,
yeah.
But Walkie Talkie made a good point actually. I think it's also the tone, or no, this one. May you please make sure, blah blah blah. That is, it's like the famous Bill Burr joke, where he's like, the difference between the way black people talk and the way white people talk is white people be like, these Asian motherfuckers.
No.
Black people are like
this motherfucking Asian.
Yeah. The white people are like this motherfucking Asian, where the black guy's like this Asian motherfucker here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like the preempting. If you say, may you please, or can you please make sure, or can you make sure, that's different. That's not make sure. Yeah. Make sure is a demand. There's not a question mark at make sure.
Yeah.
You know, where can you make sure, there's a question mark. That's it's a little bit softer. You know what I mean? Which I guess I'm arguing apples to oranges, and I'm arguing semantics when we are grown men, and I shouldn't be so in my feelings. But it is like, it's more like, I'm an American. Nobody's in charge of me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I pay taxes. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit.
Well, it's the same idea when when a cop approaches you, you're like, I pay your salary. Get the fuck out of here. Right? And they're like, oh, no, you don't. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
100% accurate. A politician, I pay your salary. Sit down and shut your fucking mouth. Why? Because I pay for you. That disconnect would be like, that's not how it works. That's actually exactly how it works. You are a representative for me, the people, the taxpayer, right? Doesn't follow, right?
I'm like one of the few conservatives who are like, when people are like,
you're not even conservative, bro.
I mean, I'm doing right a lot, but like, I'm in that conversation a lot. I hang with conservatives typically. Okay, yeah. I'm usually in the crowd. I'm usually at the groups. Okay,
yeah,
and I'm one of the few who's like, when the police topic comes on, I'm like, totally, yeah. And they're like, how could you? I'm like, because why would I pay to have my freedom taken away from me? That makes no sense.
No,
it's so dumb. That's so dumb.
I love this from Walkie Talkies. From now on, I'll ask for a small king double. I mean, that's
small king double. There you go.
Yeah, small king double.
It sounds like LeBron James, bro.
Ken is asking if they are able. May is acknowledging they can do theirs. Yeah, that's 100%. It's can you make a blah blah blah? Yes. May I have one? Yeah. Like it's one of those things. Victoria, you're a trooper. Thank you, honey. I
Thank you,
appreciate you.
Victoria.
Let me hold on. I gotta give her. I gotta give her the thing. I gotta give her the thing. There you go.
I
There
still
you
gotta
go.
make mine.
Thanks, but yeah, I gotta. I'll work on it. I swear. It's just
You don't
been.
gotta work on it. It's mine. I'm trying to really come up with like a graphic. Like I don't know what I want to
Yeah.
do with it.
It's like, and that's the difference I think with when you communicate properly, right? Is being able to tell people exactly how you feel, because I've been in situations where I'm like, hey, I think I ordered wrong the last time, but I want to check with you. I like it this way. Is that normal? Am I wrong? Just because I may have not done it right. And then they're like, oh no, that's how it's. I'm like, oh, okay. Because you know what? I think somebody was having a bad day. And they're like, yeah, it happens. I'm like, totally understandable. Like I've had so because of the rapport that I've created with my local Starbucks, a lady had a Christmas cap, a Santa cap on, and said Merry Christmas, and it was before November 11th, which is a big faux pas for us, right? If you say Merry Christmas before your Veterans Day, our Remembrance Day, people get like enraged. And I was like, hey, you can't do that until November 11th. People might get angry. And she's like, oh, you're right. I forgot, and took it off. And I'm like, now, if I walked up there, I'm like, who the fuck said Merry Christmas before November 11th? I'm getting a turd in my coffee. That's what I'm gonna get, right? So, and that's one of the things where I'm like, especially when I try and be kind to people, I know that they're like, you look like a murderer, you have the voice of a murderer, but you're being polite. I'm confused. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's just my face. And they're like, oh, you have a genetic disorder of murder face. I'm like, yes, that's it. I have a murder face. I was diagnosed last few years. My wife told me, yeah, make a glue stick.
See, I tried to make a glue stick when I first got monetized, and it looked like shit. If I'm honest, like it looked like an orange turd, literally. Like, so I gotta find something better.
that will happen. That will happen.
But
Yeah,
see, that's the thing, though. You also have to know like when that will work and when that won't work. When you're
yeah,
saying when you approach it, it's a situation like I might be the problem, or
yeah,
maybe it's just a failure of communication. Again,
yeah.
this probably is where I am the problem, but legitimately, I have approached women, like girlfriends, like that specifically. I should say, like people I was in intimate
In a
relationships with,
relationship with, yeah.
where I approached them with a problem where I was like, look, I might be the problem, and then they always like, yeah, you're totally the problem. I'm like,
So, and
I
there's
do that at Starbucks, you know.
I mean, yeah. It's the same thing when I would be like, ah, it's okay, it's because I'm fat. And people are like, yeah, you are fat. And I'm like, fuck you. That's not, I was making a joke. You're being an asshole. That's not, it's rude, right?
I did that. I did that. Probably like 3 or 4 weeks, about a month before my baby mama broke up with me. I was like, "You don't love me because I'm fat, huh? Because I got fat." And she was just like, "Honey, no. I would never leave you because you're fat ever. I would never do that." And then she was cheating on me the entire fucking time. She dead ass looked me in my eyes and assured me, knowing she was cheating on me.
Which, like, that boggles my mind. That like, it's like, did you just hit it with a straight face? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, it's not like that idea. And you know, I honestly believe it comes from that idea, which is new. Is like, it's not enough that I succeed. I need to watch you fail. You know, because listen, things don't work out. That's life. It happens, right? When you instead you're like, you know, I could just break up and we can move on. No. I'm gonna make sure I jade you forever and ruin your perspective on something. You're like, why would you do that? You're just a fucking asshole, right? It's like my ex-wife, yeah, she's an asshole. I'm like, yeah, that's not, you're a horrible human being, right? And that's that. It's that idea where people are like, yeah, no, I had to do that. You're like, why? I just had to. Why? why are you a piece of shit? And they're like, I'm not a piece of shit. You're like, you're definitely a piece of shit. And the question is, why are you a piece of shit?
See, I usually believe them though when they're like, "Yeah, I had to do that. I had to do that terrible thing." I was like, "Okay, I trust you."
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you have a reason you don't want to tell me, and I don't really want to know. So I'm gonna trust you to think it's a one time thing. But if it happens again, I'm gonna know what's up. You
yeah,
know, like because sometimes you do have to get dirty. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But that doesn't mean
sure.
that that's who you are all the time. It's when you keep getting dirty that I'm like, I think this person's dirty. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, it's that idea where if you give people enough time, they will tell you who they are, right?
mm,
And a lot of the times we ignore it, that's for sure. But also we choose not to uh, believe. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, you should have seen the red flags." When you're in a situation, you actively ignore red flags, right? And that's it's a problem.
I'm the red flag ignorer, man. I am the like it's like what the yellow street signs. You know, nobody reads those. What the fuck? What does that S mean? I don't know what that means.
No, I just think about your
Why
last
is that?
relationship.
Why is there a deer on that sign? I don't know what that means. Like,
It was your last relationship was 3 days.
the fuck? There's a
Uh,
moose.
it's
It was
bro.
2 days, bro.
It's 2 days. Two
Okay,
days.
but I was like kind of on and off. We were
No.
never
You were
actually dating.
never. You were never. You were like, this is insane. I'm not doing this. And then all of a sudden, I see status change in a relationship. I'm like, hey, and you're like, I don't know what's happening. I'm just, I don't know.
Because she was
And
being relentless, man.
yeah,
Did I ever tell you about the 3 weeks that followed that entire thing?
yeah,
It was her trying to find a way to
yeah,
communicate with me every which way she could that she wasn't blocked on, that she could find me on. Like, I
yeah.
mean, like she was in my YouTube comments, my man.
Like
Like,
that's. See, this is the worst part. Is like you were like, these are every red flag in the book, like every, and you were like, I don't know what's happening here, and I'm telling her no, and it was hilarious because you're like, yeah, she's like, oh, this guy flirted with you. You're like, you should date him. You should just
I
go date
did
him.
say that, didn't I?
Multiple times, and she was like, oh, this coworker said something that you should probably date that person. Yeah, absolutely. They look
I
like you
forgot
should be
all
in a
about
relationship.
that.
And I was like, and she keeps coming back, and you're like, relentlessly. And then you're like, all right, my relationship changed. I'm like, all right, that's cool. And then 2 days later, you're like,
Well, she messaged you to talk shit, like to apologize to me. When I say she was trying to find every which way,
yeah,
every avenue, she contacted my baby mama, like everybody, bro.
you're just like, what the hell? Like, yeah, no, that's a dodged bullet. That's for sure. Uh, I guess a dodged nuke. Like, that's, bro, you would have had two baby mamas, like 100%. That, yeah, she would have trapped you. No question. That was her goal. She's like,
Why?
I'm going to get this guy before
I you
YouTube
can
money
see
comes in.
where I live. This living room is half my apartment.
Hey, I will only tell you that women are a great judge in potential. Period. That is a factual statement. They look at them like, he could be something. I'm gonna get in on the bottom floor. That's what my wife did. 100%.
I'm 30
Both
years
of them.
old.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out what the noise in my car is making. Like I'm 30 years old and my
Everything.
car is making a noise that I've never recognized before.
I believe that sound is the road being too close to your car. That's
No, it squeaks when I turn the wheel. When I turn the wheel, it's really loud. I'm like,
simple solution. Don't turn the wheel. Try to pull me
I'm
straight.
like, is this go to the mechanic? Worthy?
Oh, that's going to be more problems. That's for sure.
Yeah, because they're always, it's never just one thing. They're like, this wrong, and this is wrong, and that's wrong, and that. And I'm like, can we focus on the thing that bothers me? Like, all the other things weren't bothering me.
I mean, that's a
Y'all never gotten to sleep with the TV on?
all the time. It's great. That's the one thing that I got in such trouble the first time I woke up and turned on the TV, and then it was early, and my wife was like, why would you do that? Now I can't get back to sleep. I'm like, that sucks for you. I don't care. And she's like, no, you can't do that. And I'm like, oh, all right, fine. So be it. What is an ODB2 reader?
The scanner. You plug it into your car, it tells you what's wrong with the car.
Raise the volume of your car.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I have one of those, and it tells me there's so many things wrong with my car. Like, come on, like I'm not trying to deal with that.
Yeah. I like this. Or just raise the volume of your car radio. That sounds worse. I'll tell you that right now.
I do do that.
I have a blown out. My subwoofer in the back is blown out, so it's like. I'm like, God, stupid.
Damn, you blew it out in the caddy. Oh,
yeah, I gotta go
somebody was jamming the Dre, bro.
Bro, yeah, I crank that mother up so often, and I'm like, oh, God. But you know, that's the worst
you don't
part.
listen to music. Get the fuck out of here.
I listen. It's all opera.
It's just noise. That's what you listen. That's what you listen to. Just humming sound.
Bro,
Whale noises.
Walking downtown the other week, and like a M5 BMW. So it's like a nice BMW drives by, and you could see his trunk like vibrating because of how loud this speaker box was in his car. And all you heard was, and my wife was like,
I don't understand that the reason for that. Like, there's no way you can hear it.
No,
there's no way you can hear a horn.
Yeah.
There's no, you can't hear your own thoughts.
Zero.
Like,
yeah.
What is the point of that? You just want attention. Like, your parents didn't love you
at all.
Like,
at all. And nobody else.
You're an emotional Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Basically. You have nobody, and it's sad. What are we doing this for the rest of the week? We have I'm gonna try and be on for Saturday. And we're probably going to try some other stuff this week as well. So everyone, please make sure to like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. People you hate, we love hating them. But as well, we have Hammer and Cheese on Saturday. And Friday, do you have anything going?
Yeah, I'm gonna do every other week of meals with my kiddo Jack. We're probably gonna be making Cubanos for that show with the leftover ham. It's gonna be a ham Cubano. And then I was thinking we do some kind of leftover, like maybe some kind of turkey dish for hammer and cheese. I don't know. We can come up with something.
Yeah. We'll talk more. We'll make sure.
One of those like, what about a moist maker? You ever see Friends?
Have I seen Friends?
You should make a moist maker for hammer and cheese.
I'll tell you what I saw. It wasn't just that. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'll tell you. It wasn't Friends that we watch up here. It is something different.
Yeah, up in Canada, it's probably it's called Pals or something.
No,
Robin Sparkles and homies.
It's called Buddies.
Buddies.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for coming out there, buddy. So everyone, please like, subscribe. The moist. Yeah. Okay. Let's do a moist.
Let's do the moist maker. Let's do the moist maker, man.
I love it.
Make a sub though. Make a sub moist maker.
Yeah, come on. We're you can't just have just a slice of bread. I need a full sandwich, right? That's only fair. So please tune in. We are going to have other shows this week. We are in discussion. My schedule is a little wonky, so it's going to be a rough couple weeks, but after that we should be good to go. So thank you all for watching, and make sure you use manipulation for good, not evil. Otherwise there's going to be a murder face chasing after you somewhere.
And happy motherfucking Thanksgiving, guys.
Absolutely. Get out there.
All the Americans out there.
To everybody, Black Friday is universal. It's all good. All right, everybody.